Deepti Yenireddy, welcome back to the Preconstruction podcast.
Thank you so much, Gareth. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. We're doing a load of pre-construction and estimating technology firms right now. I was in Phoenix at Advancing Pre-Construction. I got to sit down with quite a few, but you're one that the pre-construction first community have asked to hear more about. There's been a lot of talk in the market, so I'm really looking forward to diving into Boon. But before we do that, let's go back and create some context. Was it always construction for you, or what was it like growing up? Had you always got some sort of influence in your life that was leading you towards construction?
First of all, thank you for giving the context, Gareth. Yeah, jumping into the question, I grew up in India, typical middle class family, and with a very high emphasis and focus on education. My parents used to say education is a great equalizer. I think predominantly focused on just innovation and technology, even from childhood. So less about construction, but more, I guess I was tending towards AI and the new things. Back then it was electrical engineering, and going to IIT, which is one of the best engineering colleges in India. Or, even at IIT, it was like, hey, let's build something using software engineering. It was more around that. Construction was where I really got into it in my role leading product at Samsara, where Samsara, just so you know, is a leader in IoT for commercial fleets. So we worked a lot with construction equipment as well, Caterpillar equipment. And at that point, I knew AI for the physical world is way harder to build than AI for, everything digital. And yeah, you get inspired by hard things and solving hard problems. Or, in other words, I'd like to say, once a founder, you'll always choose foolish things to do.
Yeah,
But
well, that
that's
actually leads nicely into my next question is you did have My Alley, which was a HR talent acquisition retention platform. You founded that over 5 years and then that was sold as well. How was it building? And that was your first product.
Yeah, that was my first company. And yeah, we were in HR tech. AI, back then, AI was natural language processing more than LLMs right now. And yeah, we worked with large companies like SAP, Coca-Cola, and others before, yeah, it got acquired. Building that was, like with every startup, it's a lot of excitement, a lot of pain, a lot of learnings, and tons of failures. But yeah, learned a lot.
And you didn't have enough, so you came back for a second. So you were
That's
obviously
right.
it's you hadn't got enough pain. So you're at Samsara. Why pre-construction? Why what drew you to pre-construction? Was it a massive gap in the market, or what was the attraction to get into pre-construction?
Yeah, absolutely. So, building AI for the physical world, obviously, had to learn and dig in some more into where exactly are the problems in construction. I mean, not necessarily problems, but also areas of opportunity. And in this day and age of AI and, what's happening in the world, number one, um, there's this immense problem here in construction, which is, yeah, there is an AI boom, but none of them can read construction drawings. That's a completely different problem. And that left like an open space. Separately, there's also a huge, supply demand gap in construction, especially with the data centers coming in. There's, not enough construction people out there, whether it is field personnel, whether it is back office, or whether it's at the forefront, which is pre-con, which is where everything starts off. So it felt like this is the hard problem we wanted to solve that didn't have enough people working on it, especially the computer vision side of the plan set. We went to CVPR, which is one of the world's best conferences in computer vision. There's not enough people working on this problem. So it just felt like we had to be the ones doing it.
Brilliant. And then that was when Boon was founded. So for anybody listening that hasn't heard about Boon, what problem does Boon solve?
Yeah. So what we do at Boon is we use AI to help pre-con teams bid more, bid better, bid more accurately, win more, and as a result, keep up with the market demand in terms of data centers or other projects in a super fast manner. So what AI or what our product provides is like a 10x or even a 100x speed. And as a result, these teams are able to take on more, do things faster, and can build a reputation around speed and accuracy.
Brilliant. So where does it get involved in the pre-construction life cycle? Does it get involved at the very beginning, or where is it most used?
Yeah. And this is early news, Gareth, but I'm honored to share with you. But we are launching our estimator or the first pre-con employee, AI employee, where it gets involved right at the get-go, where you get invited to work on a project or the owner calls you. From there, determining if you should be working on this project or not, to evaluating the scope gaps, risks, conflicts, etc. Then taking off and measuring things, quantifying things, to creating an estimate, to reaching out to your vendors or subcontractors, and then leveling those bids, and then finally putting a proposal together. Through that entire journey, this AI estimator can basically just interact with you and perform those tasks independently. Obviously, you want to review each one of those, get familiar. Nothing replaces human judgment. And in this case, a very highly skilled role, which is an estimator, but throughout that entire life cycle.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like an AI estimator co-pilot where it stays with you the whole way through. So if, for instance, like we're seeing in the industry at the minute, messy drawings, half-baked drawings, maybe 30% complete drawings, how does Boon handle those?
That's a great question that you bring up, and it alludes to the computer vision problem that I was talking about. So there are a couple different ways we have to approach the problem and tackle this. So number one is, later stage drawings, which is SD onwards to CD documents. So those, while they have details, you're assuming that AI can read them, right? But this requires extensive amounts of training data and traditional computer vision models and our own proprietary models to get AI to read them to 90% accuracy and plus. In fact, we are one of the only companies who publish our F1 scores on each trade and scope, mainly because, we think it's important, mainly because we want to collaborate. We want to see, what is the latest that gets the industry the best outcomes possible. Um, that's one aspect. On the earlier stage, there are different parameters that come into decision making, right? When you're looking at 10% or early conceptual, right? There's not as much visual. So even AI or even humans are not using visual data. You're pulling historical, benchmarks and metrics. So you can use AI much more easily to gather, last couple of years of like hundreds of projects and millions and trillions of data points, right? And crunch those numbers and give you like, hey, this is what this proposal should look like, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we think about AI. There are different models and different agentic approaches that we would use at different stages of the drawing.
Brilliant, brilliant. And when you say that the previous project, is that the key? So to get the best out of Boon, is to have maybe 4 or 5 hospitals that you've already built, and then another client come to you and say, right, I need so many beds, I need an A&E department, I need so many scanning rooms. And then does that then the Boon AI goes into the previous projects, get an idea from the 20% completed drawings, and then it starts spitting ideas to you?
Yeah, so couple of different things, Gareth. So with the agent, right? It's not just a co-pilot; it just is your employee. Like it's super powerful. And just to give you a sense for it, right? I use it like no better way, right? Like I use it 95% of my day, right? And it's just going off and doing tasks worth 10 people on its own. So what that means in this case is Boone, once you connect the agent to a system, like its power is in integrations, it can build its own integration. So you can say, hey, go access this data from, let's say, this system, like, or Procore or Destiny, right? If that's the estimation system, it's going to go fetch it on its own and then say, okay, this is how your proposal should be. So you see all the cognitive load that it's taking on and then advising you strategically in that way. So to go back to your question, Gareth, if it is early stage, historical data makes a lot of sense. If it's late stage, you already have all that information in the drawing visually. So yes, you may want to pull the historical information to say, okay, um, this is a healthcare project or a hospital, and it should have these metrics. So hey, Mr. Estimator, check your takeoff because this ratio doesn't look right. So it's different application of historical data, but essentially the same thing. But the computer vision models play a lot more of a bigger role in later stage.
Brilliant, very good. So, one thing I wanted to ask is hallucination. How does the estimator stay in control? Where's the human loop? How does the director, the chief estimator, the lead estimator know that this AI estimator agent is away doing and getting the right information? Is there any sort of traceability?
Absolutely. So, you touched upon the biggest advantage of AI, which causes the hallucination. So, AI is non-deterministic by nature. So that means it's trained in such a way that it will not promise, the same outcome 10,000 times when you run it, unlike software engineering, which runs on rules, right? So it's a function of the training data and then a prediction it's making. So it's trained on something. So next time it's asked that, it makes a prediction, which could have a percentage chance of hallucination. So I think in our case, the construction data and like all the guardrails are so much, it's less hallucination, but task completion, right? Because we would constrain that at Boon with the product. But yeah, you can track all of it. We have a platform along with the agent, and this platform is heavily visual because plan sets are heavily visual, drawings are visual, and you need to be able to see that and every element of it and review that. So while this agent is sitting on your communication channel or on the Boon platform and chatting and performing tasks independently, it's going to come back with, hey, I did this, you can review it here, right? I recommend you review this, this, and this. So it's providing guidance and direction on what to check as well.
Brilliant. And can it give you links on where it got the information from?
Yes.
Bless me.
Bless you, Gareth.
Very good. So the accuracy is quite high. I mean, have you seen that with your current customers? The feedback, what's that been like?
Yeah, that's a great question and also has so much detail into it. But simply put, we track each of the computer vision models in terms of accuracy with what we call F1 scores, Gareth. And the F1 score can vary from mechanical ductwork to electrical feeders to flooring to, let's say, facade, etc. So each one is tracked differently We measure differently. But we also have like a unified foundational model that increases the accuracy of each one. So different rates and scopes are at different level based on how much training data we have, how nascent is that model. But the one thing we noticed is anything below 90% causes user friction, right? Because when we observe users, it requires 80 to 90% plus so that they get enough out of it so they don't feel they're correcting a output. Because if you talk to estimators out there, that's one of the things they would say, hey, it's easier for me to just draw the line versus correcting something else someone put together. So that's something we are very mindful of, and hence that push towards that. But yeah, we publish our F1 scores. It's on our website, on blogs. Yeah, and constantly working on newer scopes in order to raise the accuracy. Our
Brilliant.
vision is no matter our vision for the construction industry is no matter what trade and scope you are, whether you're a GC, whether you're a subcontractor, the agent should be able to perform the project end to end for you. And what that means is like that's our North Star goal. And some of the things we are doing that are core research to help with that is we are, creating this foundational model on top of everything that we internally call Hydra that serves all these 37 models. And then separately, we are also, building the core foundation to create synthetic data because there are only so many buildings in the world, so much real data. And AI needs a lot more to do, really, really high in accuracy. So almost like automating a MEP designer even in order to generate those in Revit or 3D to create that training funnel for the model. But yeah, long story short, that's the work we put into getting into accuracy.
Brilliant. And the accuracy, I mean, obviously, I can go on your website and see the F1 score of each of the divisions. Do you find that it works best with certain divisions?
Yeah, it's a function of, a couple of different things. One is the availability of training data. The second thing is which ones we picked up qu- earlier versus, the newer scopes later. For example, mechanical ductwork or structural steel and concrete, mainly because we picked them up early on, Gareth, just based on customer demand, are much higher. For example, structural, you can just review in like 2 minutes. So something that would have taken you a full day or a couple of days, you can quickly run the AI. That takes like 30 seconds to run, spend a minute or two, maybe even 5, 10 minutes to review. And that's pretty much it from what we've seen.
Brilliant, brilliant. And you mentioned the training model and the projects that are being put into Boon. If you have 10 general contractors working on Boon, obviously the information that they put into Boon, that's shared amongst everyone. Is that right? Or that helps train the model?
So, a couple of things. Each customer's data is their own and separated by their own instance. We have strict guardrails for that. So, no, it's not shared, not in any way. That's something we absolutely take care of. We are hosted on AWS that also provides those guardrails and infrastructure. On the computer vision models for the customers who consent, basically that is anonymized completely. For example, the layer that is anonymized is, hey, there is a pixel here and there is a dot here, and this is what that it's a line versus it's an empty space or it's a dotted line. So that level of ambiguation is basically what goes up to the model level that's trained on it. And there are customers who don't even want to share that, and we respect that too.
Brilliant. So it's essentially built. I know you mentioned trade partners before, but it's essentially built for general contractors. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely fair to say. We do really well on the trades as well, which is why we have electrical, mechanical, structural, and other customers too in the
Brilliant.
subtrades.
Brilliant. And what about developers? Are you seeing interest from developers as well?
We do get inbound from time to time. We haven't yet explored how we can potentially help them, but our agent is changing, even our thinking. It's pretty fascinating how it's pushing us even to think bigger, broader. So, one of the things, and this is something we would love to partner with another company on, going at it on our own is probably going to be difficult to do two things at the same time. We want to focus on pre-con for sure. Is we are working on a lot of generating synthetic data. So what does that mean? That means, it's kind of creating something out of nothing, right? Like using code compliance, using traditional engineering rules, coming up with plan sets, coming up with ductwork placement or conduit placement or fixture placement and things like that, right? But because we need that data at the tail end to train our AI, but we also understand that that is also something that engineering firms, within the AEC lifecycle, care a lot about. So we're definitely, thinking through how we can partner with others. But yeah, our focus is pre-con. We have a lot to do there.
I'm sure. And I'm sure there's people listening to this, estimators and pre-construction managers. It's incredible to think that this agent is going to be with you through the whole life cycle. From your feedback or maybe even case studies, is there any particular part within the ecosystem of pre-construction that Boon is absolutely essential and is saving so much time?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the gains in time are mind-blowing, Gareth. I mean, it's incredible for us to see. It's incredible for us to see customers react to it as well. So I'll give you a couple of examples. One example is, this is a GC, but essentially, even with one person using the agent on an ongoing basis, and you can see. In a good and a bad way, when a customer is upset because the agent isn't responding, you know that, okay, this is a critical, they're missing the agent and it's critical. In a bad way, it's like, you have to go fix something. But with this person using it for some of the use cases within that entire flow, we've calculated that they've generated like 430 extra hours in a year,
Wow.
right? And the other thing is also the speed. Something that would have taken them, 2 weeks is done in like 5 minutes,
Mm.
right? And the biggest sense of satisfaction I had is when they mentioned that now they're building a reputation with their customers as someone who can get back reliably and very fast.
Okay.
So when they are able to show that to their customers and build that reputation with their customers, I mean, that fulfills our objective of why we even exist. So I'd say those are pretty transformational outcomes.
Mhm.
When using AI to that extent. Number one is the visual accuracy, making it really high. But the other aspect is giving the agent the power of data, which is power of context, and that means different systems integration. And this agent is sitting there knowing the context of all your team, all the work that it's done, all the work that is currently ongoing, and what's coming into the future, and then helping you make strategic decisions while crunching numbers and while crunching drawings and looking at the quantities and measurements.
Brilliant. So if a customer does turn around and go, right, Boon's for me, let's get started. How long is the training? How long is it to get set up? How long before it's live? How long before they see an ROI?
Yeah, great question. So we are currently at a point, today is July 1st. I'm tracking my roadmap and things we need to do. But currently, it's not self-serve yet, but we are targeting end of July for a self-serve, which means that onboarding is like once you once a customer decides to work with us, right in the onboarding call, we give them access. We make them share their screen and start working with the product. So our goal is by the end of that 1 hour onboarding call, they know how to use it. They start, they can perform their tasks. In fact, we say, hey, what do you have on your plate today? Right? Like, what were you going to do? Use Boon to do that. So that kind of gets them into, okay, let me go to Boon first to start, offloading my tasks. And then it takes a few weeks, Gareth, for them to start getting the hang of it. With respect to, hey, how do I do this? What should I click here? Where is this? So that's the July work that we are gonna spend time on making the UI really, really self-serve. Our goal is like, you don't even need to wait for the Boon onboarding call. As soon as you decide to work with Boon, you get your login details. You can start exploring. That's our goal for this month.
Brilliant. So am I right in saying that it's almost like Claude, only it's obviously not generic open AI. It's a much better trained version of that.
It's different though. Claude can't read drawings. So where these generic LLMs, Claude or OpenAI or Gemini, they can read the text in your drawings, but they don't know where a line is starting and stopping. Like no awareness of that, right? So that's why you need a completely different technology, which is a traditional computer vision model, to basically make the machine understand, okay, this pixel has this pixel has this, right? So just to give you a simple example, I need to draw a feeder, right? Or let's say I need to detect, you know, which part of the flooring is tile and which part of the flooring is, let's say, carpet, just to give a very simple
Yeah.
example. And I need to know the exact square footage, right? What Boon can do is take the agent can understand a schedule or all the legends and notes and everything in a plan set, and then also go and measure that flooring, which has style, no matter how many sheets, how many pages it is. Yeah, this is something core fundamental large language models cannot do because they cannot understand what's in which pixel and how to measure it.
Very good. Well explained. Yeah, that makes it a lot more easier now. And I was gonna I always like to finish with how do you think AI, not just Boon, but AI will change the way estimators estimate in the next 5 years? What is your vision?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen much faster than that, Gareth. It's crazy, right? Like the world is changing every minute we speak. It's exciting, but also scary. I think it's going to come much, much faster, but estimators will stop, the doing what they do right now and become more strategic advisors. They're going to be, all of them will become managers because they're going to manage this agent, right? This AI employee. And they're going to be thinking more about strategically how to work on this project so margins are better. How do we cost efficiently deliver this? So it'll be a lot more strategic thinking. Even yesterday, for example, we saw a customer saying, I need to figure out how to compete against that company. So, I need to know like what is the the um, similarities of the DNA between us and the customer and the difference with the competitor so we can position ourselves. So you see, like every estimator is going to start thinking like strategic exec or CEO and thinking through that versus, performing the task, which is like, I'm going to read this 1,500 page document and figure out what the conflicts are with the plan set and look at like those exact lines. AI will do a lot of that for you.
All the heavy lifting. I love it, Deepti. Boone is going to look after everything. Listen, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Sounds very exciting. If there is anybody listening to this and said, you know what, I've enjoyed Deepti's conversation, but I want to learn more about Boon, maybe a demo or maybe get the product live. Where's the best place to get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely on our website. It's www.getboon.ai. Happy to share it later as well. And then, of course, you can always reach out to me on the website or on my LinkedIn, which I'll share with you as well. But yeah, that's the best place.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'll have both. Anybody listening, all those links, Deepti's LinkedIn, the URL for the website, a demo URL, they will all be on the show notes below as well. And before I let you go, Deepti, how did the word the name Boon come up? Is there any story behind that?
Yeah, when I was coming up with the name for the company, obviously, found logistical challenges early on in terms of, hey, what domains are available. But I knew I wanted something short, and Boon it's a financial gift. Like no matter how you think about it, I just felt this company's name is a gift, and that's what we'll achieve for our customers. So.
Love,
Yeah.
love it. We can all look forward to financial freedom. Listen, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The wonderful news is Deepti has nominated herself and a customer to come on a webinar with the Preconstruction First community. We've already had a couple of tech companies on with their customers. It's worked really well, not only hearing from the founders, but also the current customers that are using the technology. So really looking forward to that. I also will put the details of that below in the show notes. So if you're interested in jumping on that webinar, please get in touch. But Deepti, for now, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Garrett. Really appreciate you inviting me here. And yeah, your wallpaper up there is the show stealer.
You're too nice, Deepti. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Thanks, Garrett.